welcome back to another video here with Angel B Designs. I'm Angel B. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. In today's video, you guys, I am doing a complete deep dive on my Poolin single needle embroidery machine. I do have the Poolin EOC06, which is the bigger of the two. I do believe there's an 05 and an 06. The 06 is the bigger of the two. The largest size I am able to embroider is 7.9 by 11. And that's the machine I've been using consistently for about 2 months now. When I say consistently, I mean about at least 4 to 5 days a week. I have run this machine since I unboxed it at the end of January. Okay, it's now the end of March, so it's been consistently 2 months. I've run into a couple little troubleshooting things I've had to take care of. I've spoken to an engineer with Poolin. I have, FaceTime with them a couple times, things like that. So I have a couple, I do have some answers to questions that I do get often, right? Do I love this machine? What am I using? Is there any magnetic hoops that can be used with this machine? What kind of thread? Is the rich word thread any good? What about the bobbin issues and the tension issues and things like that? We're going to talk about all of that in today's video. I'm going to show you everything that I use. We're going to do an applique project using the machine and everything that I recommend. As always, everything will be linked down in the description box. If there is something or a question that you may have that I missed, drop it down in the comment section. I will either answer your question or I'll try to make another video for it. But we are doing, like I said, this is going to probably be a longer one because I'm doing a complete deep dive on this machine. All right, so definitely stick around for that. All right, guys, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and discuss is going to be hoops. Okay, the Poolin EOC06 comes with 4 hoops. You get, these are the 140 by 140, that's millimeters, 140 millimeter by 140 millimeter. You get 2 of these. It comes with 200 by 200 millimeter. You get 1 of these. And then it comes with the this is the 200 by 280 millimeter, which is, this is the 7.9 by 11. This is the one that I use most often as I do bigger projects. Y'all, I don't know the translation from millimeters to inches just yet. I haven't memorized them. But I want to say this is probably an 8 by 8 and this is the 5.5 by 5.5. Don't quote me on that. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But these are the 4 that you get in the box with your machines. Now, as far as I know, there's 2 magnetic hoops that are compatible with the Poolin machine. Mighty Hoops is not compatible, so you cannot use a Mighty Hoop. There's 2. One is a little bit more on the expensive side. One is a little bit more cost efficient, and I have both of them. Okay, this one is going to be the one that's more cost efficient. This is the magnetic hoop. This is compatible with the Poolin EOC06. Now, if you are looking for hoops that are different from the ones that came in the box and you have the Poolin EOC06, you want to get a hoop that would be compatible to the Genome 550E. The Genome 550E does have the same mechanism here. So if you're searching for them, because Poolin is a newer machine, then you would have to search for, like I said, something that's compatible with a Genome 550E. If it's compatible with that, then it will also be compatible with the Poolin EOC06. But this is the Embroidery machine. I'm sorry, the Embroidery magnetic hoop. These are the, let me turn this down a little bit. These are the magnetic pieces that kind of go. So when you hoop your product, your material, your apparel, whatever, your fabric, you take these metal pieces, not metal, but these magnetic pieces here, and they snap right on like this. So essentially it's almost like floating. Essentially it is floating. You're gonna basically float it, and then you're gonna take these magnetic pieces here and put it right on top to give it a little bit more security. Now, of the 2, I would prefer the more expensive one over here, which is the Snap Master. Why? I'm going to explain it right now. This one with these, if you're doing something that's more bulky, this would work good for like towels, blankets, patches, things like that. Things that are not that bulky and kind of tend to lay flat. If you are trying to do something like a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, something like that, it's a little bit harder unless you are really, really good at floating. I am not, okay? I am not good at floating at all. But if you are really, really good at floating, that one will work just fine for you. However, for me, I prefer this one. This one is going to be kind of similar, similar to the Mighty Hoops. It's not necessarily a Mighty Hoop. However, it's very similar. It's a similar concept to a Mighty Hoop. This kind of teal piece here comes off, and this is the top part. Okay, you're going to, this is the one I'm going to use in today's video. You're going to hoop on top of here, and then this piece basically just, let me get that out the way, snaps on just like that. So it does snap on magnetically, similar to a Mighty Hoop. This magnet is pretty strong. I have not had any issues with misalignment or anything like that since using this one. So I do prefer this one over that one just because, again, I'm not that good at floating. I need that extra security. I need it to kind of stay on there. It's similar to the regular hoop that comes with it. The difference is you don't have that piece on the side that you have to unscrew, but it gives you kind of pretty much the same security. Again, this is called a Snap Monster, I believe. A Monster Snap Hoop. Again, I'll leave this link down in the description box. I got this from Amazon. I also got the Embroidery from Amazon as well. The Poolin Machine I got from Amazon. Basically, almost everything I'm using in today's video, I purchased from Amazon. But yeah, this is the hoop I'm going to use today. But these are hoops. Next, we're going to talk about thread. All right, so I do have a couple of different brands of thread here, okay? When my husband purchased me this Poolin machine for Christmas, there was a package deal that was going on at the time. I will double check to see if it's still going on right now. If it is, I'll leave that link for you guys in the description box. But at the time around Christmas, there was a package deal going on where you could spend an extra couple dollars, and then you would be able to get 60 of the Poolin, the Rich Word thread, which is the Poolin brand. So that's what he purchased for me. That's all of these colors here. So all of these in this little small spools, these are all Rich Word. And then I went ahead and I purchased, I'm getting low on a couple of different colors. So this blue, the red, and black. I did run out of black. So when I was running low on some of the colors, I went ahead and I made a candle thread order. So these ones here, the larger spools, are candle thread. These are the two threads thus far that I have used, and I will say I love them both, okay? Let me see if I can show you. So when I was ordering, I really like this shade of red, which is, this is the Rich Word red. This is the candle thread red, okay? Basically, I found the numbers equivalent to be able to match these two reds. Hopefully you guys can see they are the exact same color, okay? And the way I was able to kind of match these was using the Madeira numbers. So basically what I did was I found on Rich Word's website, they have a Madeira number that matches the Rich Word number, right? I don't remember it off the top of my head, but let's just say that number is 55, right? So Madeira number 55 is the same color red as this red right here. Then I went to candle thread and I said, okay, so the color red I need for Madeira, if I were to order this in Madeira, would be 55. So I'm going to go to candle thread website, and I'm going to, because they also have a translator for Madeira. So I know that this is the same color as Madeira 55. So I'm going to go to candle thread and I'm going to find Madeira 55, the equivalent to Madeira 55. And this was it. And I purchased it. Y'all, they are the same color. Both of these would also be the same color as the Madeira 55. It's not 55. I'm sorry. I just, I was just using that as an example. But whatever color the Madeira, that number was, Madeira would be the same color red. I have to say Rich Word is pretty, like I love them both. I do love them both a lot. I love this one. I love, like, they're both pretty shiny. They're both I've used both of these, and I have basically this, you know, my opinion is the same on both of them. Okay. But these are the two threads that I will probably stick with. I use a stand, and I will show you later on in the video, to be able to use, because I do have a single needle machine, I do have a thread stand to be able to use the larger spools, because these will not fit on the top of the machine. So if I want to be able to put my spool of thread on the top of the machine, I have to go with the smaller one. Otherwise, if I want to use the larger one, then you have to use the thread stand, and I will show you that later on in the video when we start to kind of do our project. Okay. um the next thing I want to kind of talk about is my spool holder. I did also get this from Amazon. It's actually two of them. This side is one, this side is the other one, and I did mount them onto the wall. You can space them apart like this so that you can fit the larger ones, or you can put them immediately, like directly next to each other, so that you can fit the smaller ones like this. Again, I'll make sure I leave this link down below. I did get that from Amazon. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be stabilizer and the adhesive spray. All right, so I do have a couple different stabilizers here. I haven't tried too many, just a few. This is the one that came in the box with the Poolin machine. It's the Rich Word tear away stabilizer. It's a 9x9, and you get 100 sheets. This came with the machine. I have not used it yet, just because I have not done any projects where I use tear away. The projects that I normally do are shirts, hoodies, things like that. I haven't tried any hats, socks, or anything like that as of yet. I've only done shirts and hoodies, so therefore I was told you cannot use tear away on shirts and hoodies. So I have not used this yet. But as I venture off into more, you know, materials and things like that, fabrics, I probably will get into tear away. But this, I just wanted to let you know that this came in the box with the machine. Okay, they did give you some tear away. So some things that I ordered myself, HBI. I ordered some HBI stabilizer. This is some pre-cut 5x7 sheets. I was using these with my 7.9x11 hoop. Quickly realized I thought that I could get away with using these even though it was smaller, because for some reason, even though everybody told me hooping is a big deal in making sure your stabilizer is kind of bigger than your hoop, for some reason I was like, I can make it work. No, you cannot make it work. Okay, so I should have bought the bigger sheets, but I do have these for anytime I use the smaller hoops. I have done a couple left chest logos for my husband, and I used these in the 5.5x5.5. It does fit in there. So this is nice if you have like a 4x4 hoop, 5x5, 5.5x5.5, or you know, something like maybe even an 8x8 would be able to work as well. But for the most part, this would be for your smaller hoops, the 5x7 sheets. But I do like them. It's basically it's a little bit on the thicker side because it's not the mesh ones. So this is how it looks. It is a little bit, I don't know if you can hear it, but it is a little bit on the thicker side versus the one that I've been using. This is the one that I've been using. This is actually my third roll. This is my second roll. I ran out of the first one. This is the HBI. This is a mesh. It's a no-show mesh medium weight stabilizer. I love this one. This is probably my favorite. When it comes to shirts, I use two pieces. When it comes to hoodies, depending on the brand, the Gildan hoodies, I only need to use one because they are thicker. Like the Bella Canvas hoodies are a little bit on the thinner side. So for that one, I use two pieces. It just depends on what I'm doing and how thick or thin the hoodie or the shirt is. But it's a roll. You just kind of cut it off. We're doing a shirt today, so I'll be using two pieces of this. And again, you will see my hooping process, and you will be able to see, you know, exactly how I do it. I also did buy the HBI in the color black. I've only used this to kind of practice on. I have not used this for an actual shirt or hoodie, but I did want to just have it on hand just in case. This one is on the thicker side. It's kind of like the sheets, but just in a roll, and the color black. So I don't really know if this works or how well it works just because I haven't used it just yet. But I wanted to purchase it so I had it on hand in case I needed it for anything. Next thing I want to talk about is bobbin and needles. These came in the box. You got like a few of these little packages here. These are the organ needles for sewing, knitting, and felting. That's what it says on the package. However, these actually came in the box with the Poolin machine. There was like 5 of these, and each one of these packages has like 3 or 4 needles in it. This is my last package I have here. I only have 1 more left, so I did go ahead and order these again. I will leave a link for these down in the description box. They're the organ needles, but these are the ones that came in the box with the Poolin. Okay, so I'm just gonna order what comes with the Poolin as of for right now, because I'm not too, you know, versed on other brands and things like that. I'm just gonna stick to the Poolin brands for now, unless somebody specifically tells me. Like, I was specifically told about the candle thread by some other YouTubers on Patrice from Craftable Things, Delonda from Crafting with Delonda. I want to say maybe even Marilyn also use candle thread. I'm not for sure, but I know for sure that Patrice and Delonda used them, and they told me they were really good. So that's why I went ahead and bought those ones. But their machine is different. They use the Romeo Marquis, so I think their needles are different. That's why I'm sticking with the Poolin needles. Pre-wound bobbin. Okay, there was like a whole situation with my bobbin. If you guys have watched my lives at all, you know this already. I was originally trying to wind my own bobbin, and I was just having really bad tension issues. So I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and buy the pre-wound bobbin, see if that makes a difference. Oh my goodness, it does. Okay, I bought the Rich Word polyester pre-wound bobbins. You get 144 in a box, and here is how they look. This one, actually, I used that one up. They come more. So here is how they look. They are pretty, you know, they're wound pretty tightly, and you get 144 of these. I would say one of these probably gets me through 3.5 to maybe 4 hoodies, depending on how much thread I'm using. But if I'm doing a big project, like something like what I'm wearing right now on a hoodie or a t-shirt, I could probably do like 4 of these before I would need to switch this out. Okay, so makes a huge difference. I had way less tension issues when I went ahead and purchased the pre-wound bobbins. So I definitely recommend that. Now, the basting spray, I've tried a couple. This one is from Amazon. I think a lot of people use this one. It's a more popular brand. This one I got from Hobby Lobby. It was $10.99, which I believe is way more than this one. I want to say this one was like $7.99. I'm not 100% sure. I'll double check. I will leave a link for this one in the description box because I like this one better. I ran out. The reason I ended up with this one was because I bought one of these, ran out, and I went on Amazon and I purchased 2 more. So I have 2 of these now. And it kept delaying. My order kept getting delayed, so I didn't have any more of this. So I went to Hobby Lobby, and that was how I ended up with this one. This one is okay. I like it. It's not bad. It's no stain. Says it doesn't gum needles. It's acid free. No CFC. It didn't make my needles sticky. It doesn't have a smell, anything like that. It was pretty good. It's just more expensive. I think this one might be more expensive than this one. I think, well, this one is $10.99. I think this one might be $7.99 if I'm not mistaken. I gotta double check that. But if you run out of this one and you need to you have to just run out and grab something, they sell this one at Hobby Lobby. and it's good. I like it. But these are the two that I have used. I like them both. Prefer this one. But I'll leave a link for this one in the description box. I think that's about it. We're going to start hooping our shirt, and then I will get to actually talking about the machine. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hoop. I already laid down one sheet of stabilizer. I'm doing a t-shirt, so I'm going to lay down 2 pieces of my no-show mesh stabilizer. I already put down one. So what I'm going to do is take my basting spray, and I'm going to spray here. You don't want to spray too much. You just want to spray enough to make sure that it's nice and adhered and it doesn't move or shift around when you go to hoop. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim. Okay, then we got to turn it the correct side. Now when it comes to, I'm going to use the Monster Snap Hoop. When it comes to that, it doesn't necessarily come with a station per se. So if you have trouble lining up the hoop in your shirt, one thing I would suggest is having a nice flat surface. So if you have to do it on the floor, if that would be easier, or if you have a big enough table, you just want to make sure that you have your shirt nice and spread out, so you can kind of see the whole shirt, so that when you go to line it up, you have enough space to be able to see and make sure it's lined up correctly. Okay, so this is the bottom part. This is the part that connects to the machine. This is the part that goes inside the shirt. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure that this piece is nice and kind of, again, you want to make sure, since these don't come with hooping stations, I don't have a hooping station, you just got to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. You want to make sure on the inside of the shirt that the stabilizer is going over the edges. Okay, so I kind of check through the neckline here. I can see this is my stabilizer. Okay, so I'm lining it up with the hoop and making sure that my stabilizer is going over the edges of the hoop. Now here you can kind of measure, if you want your design to start kind of 3 fingers down, you can measure here and make sure that the top part of your hoop, which would be this part, kind of starts lower down. You also have the option to trace once you get it onto the machine as well, if you need to. And then also keep in mind that most designs, when on your hoop, they don't go completely edge to edge. Okay, keep that in mind as well. Okay, this looks to be pretty good. I also kind of measure with my fingers from the sides as well. You can use a ruler if you need to, or a measuring tape. I kind of just use my fingers and make sure it's even, 3 fingers on each side. This seems to be pretty good. So now what I'm going to do, take my hoop, and it snaps right on. It's very, very similar to a mighty hoop. Okay. And now you just want to make sure that your shirt is nice and straight. Your stabilizer is inside the hoop. And you want to make sure it is nice and straight as well. You want everything to be nice and tight. Okay? Super simple, super easy. This is why I like this one a lot better. So we're going to go on over to the machine. I'll start talking about a deep dive with the machine, and we'll get to embroidering. All right, guys, so I am going to be using a pattern that is on my USB. This is the USB that came with the machine. I'm not using any extra or special USB. I'm using the one that came with the machine. I simply just plugged this into my laptop and then imported my design onto this USB drive. And then I'm going to take this USB drive and I'm going to plug it right into my machine. Now you have a couple options here. You have built-in patterns, letters, pattern borders, text, and then patterns that you have saved to this machine. You can actually, if you have something on a USB drive, it's a file that you want to use over and over and over, you can save it to this actual machine without needing the USB drive to be plugged in. I'm going to go to the USB pattern here. We're just going to select that. And then I have a couple of them here, and I'm going to select the one I want. Now when it comes in, it's not configured properly on the screen here for, embroidering. So we're going to go over to configure, and then we're going to kind of just play with it a little bit to kind of get it edited and set up for us to go ahead and embroider. The first thing I need to do is I need to rotate it. Now, I don't know if everybody embroiders the same way on this machine, but this is the way that I do it. On the right side of the screen would be equivalent to the bottom of the hoop, right? That's going to be the bottom, going towards the bottom of the shirt. The left side of the screen is going to be going towards the neckline. So the top of the design, the top of the hoop. With that being said, I need to rotate this. So I'm going to select rotate. And then I'm going to go ahead and rotate it so that the top of the design is at the left side of the screen, which is going to be the top part of the hoop, the neckline of the hoop, okay? The bottom part where the puzzle pieces are, this is going to be going towards the bottom of the hoop, which is also going towards the bottom of the shirt. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not going to do any resizing, so I'm going to push save. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to change the color thread, just because for me, it makes it a little bit easier when I'm loading in my thread. This is a single needle, right? So that means that every time there's a color change, I have to actually rethread my machine every single time. And just to make sure that I am threading the correct thread, I do change my color so that I don't get lost or anything like that. So I'm going to select this color button. Now, this first red color, this is going to be my placement stitch. This can be whatever color you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it red. The second color here is going to be for our letter A. I want my letter A to be green, so I'm going to leave that green. For the letter U, I want my letter U to be in red thread, so I'm going to change that to red. My letter T is the next one. I would like for that to be purple. My letter I is going to be yellow. The letter S is going to be orange. And then my letter M is going to be blue. And then the word awareness is going to be black. Okay, so this is basically how my design is going to look on my shirt. So every time I come to a color stop, it's going to tell me which thread to go ahead and load onto the machine. And because I changed them to the correct colors on the machine, if I get lost, if I get distracted, all I have to do is look at my machine and say, oh, I need to load purple, and purple will be the correct color. Okay, so that's why I do that. Again, some people don't, but I do. Now we need to go ahead and go over to embroider. This is where if you want to move this down, move it up, this is where you would do it here. Okay, we have a couple options here on the menu. I'm hoping you guys can see, but this is going to be your speed, the needle, plus and minus. This is for if you need to go back or go forward in your design. Let's say, for instance, in my letter A, maybe there was a little bit of bobbin that came through. Maybe there was a little piece of thread that was a little too loose. Maybe for whatever reason, I just needed to go over a section of this A. I'm going to go over to needle, and you have the option to go back 1 stitch. You can go back 10 stitches, or you can go back 100 stitches. You can also go forward 1 stitch, 10 stitch, or 100 stitches. But this is how, if you need to go over like redo a stitch, maybe you had some bobbin come through, you snip that bobbin out, you need to go ahead and restitch that part over. You can come here, this is, you push, like, go back 10 stitches and it will restitch that one part for you. Okay, but that's how you kind of do that. And then you can go back colors. So let's say, for instance, I am on the letter U, which is the color red, and I need to go back an entire color. I need to go back to the beginning of the A, which was the green stitch. You would push the color button and you can go back or forward one whole color. Color meaning thread. You have your trace button, which is going to trace where you are within your design. I'm sorry, it's going to trace where your design is going to be within the hoop. Okay, you have an origin point, it's going to go back to the beginning, and then you have your tension. You can go up and you can go down. The ready button is telling the machine you are ready to start stitching. You push that when you are ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get my hoop onto the machine and I will come back when I'm done with that. All right, so I do have my hoop on here. A couple things before we get started. I wanted to kind of talk about some things that make my embroidery experience a little bit easier for me. One thing are these shirt clips here. They come in a couple different colors. I will try to remember to leave these linked, but they're clips and I've used these to clip my shirt out of the way. When you're doing a single needle, a flatbed single needle, this just kind of helps you to keep everything out of the way so you don't have to sit here and literally hold it or babysit it. Another thing is this thread stand. This was the thread stand I was talking about. You guys, this comes with your machine. You do not have to purchase this extra. You can buy another one if you want to, but this comes with your machine. If you're having tension issues, I would say try using this. If it's not working up here at the top, again, if you have larger spools that you would like to use, you would use this. You put your large spool here, you put the thread through this top part here, and then I just set it behind my machine and then thread my machine as normal. Okay. And then of course some angled scissors. These help to get the threads cut nice and close. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to thread. Now I did have to change. I know when I was showing you my colors, I picked for the word awareness to be in black. I have a black shirt, so I switched it to white. Awareness will be stitched in white, not black. Okay, you put your spool at the top and then you're going to unravel a piece of thread. You guys, I'm going to try to show you the best way I can to thread this machine. It's pretty easy. I just don't know if I'll be able to get, you know, kind of close enough, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, I kind of, again, I unravel a nice, you know, long enough piece. I have my right hand up here at the top and I'm holding the thread in between my two fingers here, my index finger and my thumb, and then I take the rest of it. Now you're going to go first, this top silver part. There's a loop. You're going to go through the loop and you're going to go around twice. Poolin does have a video on this part as well. And then you're going to go around, and then where this orange part is, there's a small little opening. You're going to pull that through that opening, bring it back up around this orange piece through this second opening. Inside your machine there is a silver lever that kind of looks like a hook. You need to make sure it goes all the way into that back part of the hook. That's very important. It needs to be on the back part of the hook, otherwise your tension will be off. And then we're going to keep going down. Now you're getting down to the needle. There's a hook, there's a couple hooks under here it has to go through. Okay. The instruction manual is pretty good. That comes with your Poolin. If you are unable to see or zoom in or anything, I'm sorry. Again, Poolin does have a video here on YouTube. They get pretty close, so that you can go ahead and see that. That video definitely helped me. So check out Poolin's video if you need it. I'll try to remember to leave a link down in the description box. I'm trying to use the auto threader because there is an auto threader that will put it through the needle for you. Okay, there we go. I got it through the auto threader. And now I'm gonna loop it through the presser foot. And I'm doing this with my green color, my first green color, so I don't have to, this is gonna be the placement stitch, then there's gonna be a tack down stitch. And with that being said, actually with this file, I put it into Embroidery and I removed the tack down stitch because I was doing multiple different colors. With this, I'm going to be doing one piece of vinyl. It is an autism patterned vinyl. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the tack down stitch twice. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close my presser foot. I'm going to push ready on my machine, and then I'm going to push start. Okay, what it's doing now, this is called the placement stitch. A placement stitch is it's basically outlining where you are going to put your vinyl, your fabric. This is for an applique process. If you are doing an applique process, you have to place something down, either a piece of fabric, a piece of glitter HTV, a piece of pattern HTV, whatever it is you're doing with your applique. Then after it's done with the placement stitch is letting you know where your piece of fabric or HTV needs to go. Placement. Place your fabric here. Place your HTV here. Then it has to do a tack down stitch. The tack down stitch, what that means is it is tacking down your vinyl, right? So you've placed it where it needs to go, and now you need to tack it down so that when it goes to do the satin stitch and all of that, it's not moving around. It's not shifting. It's tacked down onto the shirt, and now it's going to do the satin stitch. Okay, I'm going to let this finish up. I'm going to go grab my vinyl, and I will come back and I'll show you what it looks like, and then we will place our vinyl down. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see the word autism has been lightly stitched out. This is again letting me know where I need to go ahead and place my vinyl. Okay, this is the vinyl that I'm using. It is it's a pattern. It's like Legos in the autism colors. So I'm going to go ahead and lift up my presser foot, and then I'm going to slide my vinyl underneath the presser foot over the letters. I'm going to put my presser foot back down. And now my machine did do a color stop because it's telling me to change it to the color green. However, remember I said we're going to do a tack down stitch. Sorry, remember I said we're going to do a tack down stitch because I'm not going to change the colors. I've done this before, and I have done glitter HTV, and I did it in different colors. For this one, I'm going to use the same pattern for all of the letters. So what I'm going to actually do on my machine is, remember I told you you can go backwards a whole color. I'm going to go backwards a whole color. And it's going to do this stitching right here. It's going to redo it again on top of the vinyl, which is going to tack this vinyl down to the shirt. Okay, so I put it under my presser foot. I am going to go ahead and trim this thread, and then I'm going to push start, and it's going to do that placement stitching all over again. That way it'll be, the material will be tacked down onto the shirt. Actually, I lied. It's not doing it. So I'm going to push color. Now I'm going to push start. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let it do its complete tack down stitch. I will come back. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll start on the satin stitching. Okay. I'm not sure you will be able to see the outline of the letters, but they are in this vinyl. Okay, it is completely tacked down. So you have the A, the U, the T, and so on and so forth. Again, the camera's probably not picking it up, but it is tacked down. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is it's gonna start the satin stitch on my letter A. Okay. I already have my green thread loaded in, which is going to be the first color, which is letter A, so I don't have to change my thread right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and press start, and then it's gonna start doing the satin stitch on the letter A. Okay, so we have the A done. And then the first puzzle piece was down here, and that is also done. Now, a couple things I want to talk about before I move on. When it comes to HTV, if you are using HTV, when the needle is kind of going into the vinyl and into the fabric, it's basically like perforating it, okay? So it's super, super easy once it's done to just go ahead and tear it right off, okay? With fabric, you do have to cut. With the HTV, you can basically just tear it, okay? I'm not going to tear it all the way because we got to get the rest of this stitched out, but that is how I'm going to go ahead and remove it. With fabric, like I said, you would have to probably use some fabric shears and go ahead and cut it. Now, something about tension. When it comes to this machine, it is a little bit finicky when it comes to tension, okay? Now, I want to show you guys something that was happening while this A was stitching out, and I'm hoping that the camera picks it up. Your tension or your bobbin should look like this, right? If you're using white bobbin with your colored thread, it should look like this: the white bobbin in the middle and your colored thread on the edges. And as you can see, for the most part on my letter A, it looks like that. There was a situation over here on this side, and I could tell that it was stitching weird from the front because it sounded like it was just kind of having a hard time stitching. So what I did was I slowed down my machine. I did have it on the highest speed, which for this one is the 600. I just, while it was stitching, I slowed it down to 500. And then as you can see, when I did that, it was down here at this point. As you can see, it corrected itself and the rest of the stitching looks really good. So if you are having a situation where your bobbin is kind of coming through the top, make sure everything is threaded correctly, but also slow your machine down, okay? It's gonna take longer. However, you won't have any issues where you have white bobbin peeking through the top, okay? You don't want that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish stitching out the rest of this shirt. For the rest of the shirt, all I'm doing now is changing the color threads, and it's going to continue stitching out on its own. Only thing for each letter, I am going to have to change the thread for each letter. So I'm going to go ahead, finish stitching out this shirt, and I will come back when it's all finished. Okay, so I am all finished, and here is the final product. We do have the satin stitch with the different colors, and then, you know, the puzzle pieces and everything stitched out perfectly. Okay, the last thing you need to do is you do need to trim the stabilizer on the inside, which I've already done here, but this was kind of how I trim it. I just trim it close. You don't want to cut your thread, but you want to trim close to the thread without cutting it, okay? And then again, you want to make sure when everything is stitching out, it has that stitch where the bobbin is in the middle and the color is on the outside. That lets you know that you have pretty good tension, okay? Now, this is a very important step. If you are using HTV, the last and final step, you have to press it, okay? I made the mistake one time. I made a shirt like this for my son without the glitter. This inside part right here was the Kente pattern print from Siser in the middle here instead of the glitter. I gave it to my son. He wore it. I forgot to press it. When I put it in the wash, this whole piece of vinyl came right on out. So now on his hoodie, all of it is just the satin stitch with nothing in the middle. The vinyl came off because I forgot to press it, okay? Because it is perforated. Remember I showed you in the beginning or in the middle of the video where you can just pull the vinyl, right? That will happen in the middle. If I try to pull this vinyl off right now, it'll come right off because it's not pressed, it's not adhered, none of that. You have to make sure, you know, you remember to press it. It's very important. Otherwise, you know, like I said, when you go to wash it, your customer goes to wash it, whatever the case may be, it'll come right off, okay? That is pretty much all I have. Everything will be linked down below. If I miss a link, if I missed something to talk about, please make sure you drop a comment down below. If I missed a link, let me know and I will go ahead and add it to the description box. If I missed any questions or anything that you guys were asking me, again, definitely leave a comment. I'll try to either make another video for it or I will go ahead and answer your question. But that is all I have for this video, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. I know it was a long one. I'm sorry, but I wanted to make sure I gave out all the information kind of in one dedicated video. But that's all I have for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time. Bye, guys.